Can you all hear me? Mic check. I'm always a little bit paranoid now that I had that one day that my mic was randomly not working. And I hadn't done anything different. It was weird. Cool. Glad you can hear me. Interesting day today, you guys. So definitely a downtrend since yesterday. A big drop last night. But we bounced off of a really key level with this previous week point of control. That was a big area of high volume that I had marked off. And we had a strong like V recovery. If you zoom down to the 5-minute, that was like strong bounce out of there off of that level. And we've been trending up ever since then. And we're up above, back above yesterday's low, back above the overnight high, the Asia high. But we're also still below the all-time high anchored VWAP, which is this yellow line, and below yesterday's point of control. So I'm not thinking like full-on bullish move, but I do think we have a little bit of room to the upside before potentially going back down. I think for me, the possibility would be like come up to point of control and then possibly see a rejection from there, or up to value area low and rejection from there. If we do get continuation above point of control, then I'd be looking for longs. But if we stay below point of control and reject there, then I'd be looking for shorts. So this point of control is kind of an area of interest that I'd be looking at when the market opens. See how it reacts there. Also, another area of interest would be right around here, because that is yesterday's value area low and the anchored VWAP from the all-time high. So those are two spots where we could possibly jump up and reject from. And then if we end up going down at the market open and bounce off of this VWAP area and go up, we could potentially be looking for longs. So those are kind of my two scenarios that I'll be watching. Just want to stay patient at the market open and see how these levels play out. That's usually what I do, though, is kind of just mark off my levels and be patient with how the market opens. Lots of little scribbles on the line chart. Hopefully that makes sense, but that's my game plan. Value area low and point of control, see if those are areas that we jump up to and reject, possibly, or get above point of control and go long. Or come back down to VWAP and get a good strong bounce. We could go long from there. We'll see. We did have that news release about an hour ago, and that's what this big jump right here was. I like to anchor a VWAP at the high volume events like that, just to kind of see who's in control. So right now we're holding above that, which is what this line is. But if we open down, then we could possibly retrace that whole news candle and come down here, which is also in line with VWAP and stuff. That'd be kind of in this area right here, like 23, 26 area. 23026. So a couple possibilities. Couple bounces off of 2060. Yeah, that area is holding. So what that tells me, that's why I like anchoring VWAPs, just because it shows you who has control. So ever since that news release, any buyers from that time are still holding their positions. If we start to break and hold below that, then they probably sold their positions and got out of their positions, so we would move down from there. All right, I'm gonna delete these lines because now that I'm zoomed into the lower time frame, it gets a little crazy. But that's kind of what I'm looking for. We got about 3 minutes until market open. Good afternoon, Marcus. Good luck today. David, thank you. I don't know if it's luck though. Hopefully everyone is feeling confident and patient and ready to follow their plan and manage their risk. I think for me at least, that's a little bit more what it's about. Not necessarily luck, it's just following the plan and managing your risk appropriately. And if you take a losing trade, but you still followed your plan, then on to the next. Good morning, Shez. Good morning, Sad. Is that how you say it? Sad? Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Good morning. Ready to follow the plan today. Pulling up financial juice. I think it was just PPI. We had U.S. industrial production that was at about 15 minutes ago. We have crude oil at 10:30 Eastern, so that's in about an hour. That'll probably move the market a little bit, but if you're trading oil, that's definitely something to pay attention to. And then we do have quite a few Fed speakers again today. Yesterday, I feel like that might have been the reason that we had so much chop, is because we had Fed speakers like every 30 minutes. Today, we don't have as many, but we have 2 Fed speakers this morning, 1 this afternoon, and then we have a Trump leadership meeting. So hopefully we get some volume in the market. All right, market's open. Here we go. Good morning, G-Man. Still holding above that news candle anchored VWAP and moving on up. I feel like most of the time, the majority of the time, whatever pump or dump, whatever reaction we get from a PPI or CPI an hour before market open, a lot of times we get a similar reaction in the open. It doesn't always follow through, but that might be what that initial jump was. All right, coming back down, kind of watching this VWAP area. And see if we end up retracing this news candle and getting a bounce from there. That would be something I'd be interested in seeing how it reacts there. Coming on down. Like I was saying in my little pre-market draw-ups, we are below yesterday's point of control and below that anchored high of day VWAP, or all-time high VWAP. So it'd be interesting to see if we get more downside continuation. It did retrace most of that candle, and it's starting to bounce off of that overnight low VWAP. Still kind of chopping around between some of the areas of interest that I have. Marcus, what's LOY? I'm not familiar with what that means. Low of yesterday. If you're talking about the New York low, maybe, yeah. I have the previous day low for the whole session at 22,995, which I feel like is a big area that would probably get defended unless we're just gonna have a down day. But not only is it yesterday's low, which is a lot of times support, it's right at 23K, which is kind of that round psychological number. It's been the level for a while. Good morning, B Frosty. Good morning. All right, coming down to that session VWAP and retracing that whole news candle. We're down to the bottom of it here. Interesting. Holding above VWAP, but sellers are in the building for now. I'm not interested in longing this as of now. Looking left, there's quite a bit of chop and liquidity in this area right at previous day low. So that might be an area for it to come down and grab some liquidity and bounce up. Get a little quick wick below VWAP and then bounce back up. I wouldn't really be interested in longing unless there's like a strong buy up. Cheechamus is watching that regular trading hours gap right at VWAP too. Interesting confluence. All right, we're getting that bounce off of VWAP. Pretty good little buy up there. Missed your VWAP entry by 2 points. Well, it might come back down. Limit orders make me nervous, especially at New York Open like this, where it can just bounce around like crazy. I feel like you'd have to have quick fingers to react. Because what if you get in on your limit order and then it doesn't go where you think it's going to go? You'd have to be super quick to close out that position. I was going to say, Marcus, you probably got filled on that one. 23.15. Dang, that's a pretty good entry if this does bounce off of VWAP. Okay, so you set limit orders plus the stop order at the same time. That's smart. That's the way to do it. That's a quick little scout, Marcus. All right, we're definitely defending, we're holding up at that VWAP, but we're not getting any continuation. There we go. Zooming out to the 15-minute, we have that pretty decent area of resistance right there. If it holds a support, holds above VWAP, we could be going higher. Marcus is done. That's awesome. Have a good one. Yeah, we have another slow, choppy day, you guys. Similar to yesterday's open. I don't love it. Not really moving anywhere. That 15-minute candle, I'm on the 15-minute chart right now, that's just straight down. There's no wick on there at all, on the underside. Let's see if it defends that previous day low area. Decent volume on that candle. Closing back above VWAP. Today I'm really just trying to sit and stay patient and see how it reacts at different levels. Because for me it's kind of stuck in a in-between. Like it's not super clear if we're going up or down. We're below that anchored VWAP from the all-time high, below yesterday's point of control. So I'm not thinking that we're just going to shoot straight up. But we're also sitting at previous day low where there's quite a bit of chop and volume. And we had a really strong reaction overnight off of the point of control from last week where there was lots of volume, and it's just been up since then. So if we can hold above the session VWAP and previous day low, I think I'll be looking for longs. But if we hold below previous day low, I'll be looking for shorts. We're kind of at a spot, an area of interest for me just to see where we go from here. But so far, that's been a bearish open for sure. All right, we got our 15-minute opening range set. Looks like it's wanting to break out to the downside, but zooming out, I'm not going to immediately take the first break because we are at that previous day low that I was talking about. So if we have like a break to the downside and it quickly closes back inside the range, we could be going long. Could be going up. I just zoomed out to the 15-minute to kind of give a little bit of context. But we just hit that 15-minute range low again after it had like officially closed. And we're getting a pretty strong buy up. So I don't want to short an immediate break to the downside. Again, staying patient. Not seeing much of a bounce though. Sasmit, no, I didn't take any trades last night. Yeah, Travis, I'll go over a failed auction for sure. I'll get into that in a couple minutes. I want to kind of see how this plays out. So the 15-minute opening range had been set here, and we had this one candle that wicked down, and now it's regaining that VWAP and starting to bounce. I'm actually entering along, you guys. I know I don't have it up on my screen, but I just got in at 27.75. Just a small position because we are going against the trend. But it's defending that range low, getting a little bit of a buy up. I'm going to put my stop loss, give it a little bit of room, and put it below the previous day low here at 994. And I'll move my trade onto the screen here in just a second. Coming back down. Well, now it's breaking out to the downside. I have my stop loss below previous day low. We'll see if we get a bounce. If I don't get stopped out, we'll see if it goes back up to the top of the range, but looks like it might be going lower. Yep, just stopped me out. Probably should have waited until it grabbed that previous day low liquidity and waited to see if it bounced. That would have been a better move. Now we're just dumping. So now we have Asia low, London low, couple different levels there. Coming down to Asia low. Getting a little bit of a bounce there. Sasmit, to answer your question about the pre-market trading, I think it depends on the time of year. Like the last 3 weeks have been pretty slow pre-New York. But there's times when it's really good. So I think it kind of depends on what's going on. One of my videos said if you trade the orb based on the break, it has about a 30% win rate. then why not just do the opposite and always win 70% of the time with good risk management? Yeah, I'd say backtest that for sure. I don't know if the math actually maths like that. But yeah, it's definitely not a good win rate if you just blindly enter on the first break. You got to kind of add some context to it. Zoom out, look at the bigger picture. All right, let's see if it comes down to Monday or London low. Overnight low is down at 928. Getting a little bounce off of that Asia low, which is these wicks over here to the left. But it looks like it wants to go lower. Definitely coming down. If we don't hold that overnight low, I mean, previous week value area low is 22,878. And then we have these wicks over here to the left at like 837. Pretty crazy. Let's see if it comes back up to the 15-minute low or previous day low. That might be a good spot for a retest to enter. PPI lured in a lot of buyers and then we immediately fell off. Yeah. Immediately at the open, we just retraced that entire news candle and then continued lower. Well, it looks like it's continuing down. I don't think we're going to get that retest of previous day low for a short entry. Gold is also dropping. It's always weird when that happens. So at this point, I'm going to stay patient since I took that first loss. I'm going to wait and see if it comes back up to 22,996-ish for a short entry, or watch if it grabs this London low liquidity and we could grab a scalp for a quick bounce. But I'm not saying that's going to be like the bottom and we're just going to skyrocket back up. If I did that, I would just be looking for a couple points, a little bounce. Well, while we're kind of waiting, Travis, I'll go back to your question. You were asking about the initial balance or a failed auction. So I do have a video that talks about it a little bit more in detail, but the long and short of it is basically you set the high and low for the 60-minute initial balance, so the first hour of trading, and it's very similar to the 15-minute opening range. So let's say a failed auction would be if price, let me grab my little drawing tool. Let's say this London low line that I have drawn up is the 60-minute initial balance low. If price comes down, breaks below the initial balance low, but then buyers defend and it closes back within the initial balance, that is a failed auction. So it's kind of just like a little fake out to the downside or the upside. And I love those setups. Like if there's a liquidity grab plus a failed auction, like if there's some liquidity over here to the left and it like comes down and grabs that liquidity and quickly bounces and closes back within the initial balance, that's a really good setup. Or the reverse as well, if it's on the top side of the range. If it grabs some liquidity at resistance and then quickly closes back within the initial balance, that's a good setup. All right, so we're kind of bouncing around that Asia low, which is this liquidity over here to the left. We also have a little bit of chop and volume here too. It's not something I'm interested in longing from though. I feel like it's kind of just a little bit of a chop zone before we continue down lower to at least the London low. I don't think we're gonna get the like ultimate bounce from here if we are gonna bounce. We might come back up to previous day low or 15-minute opening range low area and reject from there. At this point on the 5-minute chart, it looks like we're holding below this Asia low. It's not wanting to bounce back up. Undecided, doesn't know what it wants to do yet. There's a fight going on. I haven't even looked at Bookmap. What do we have going on over there? Any big orders that stand out? What do we have? London low is at like 927-ish. Yeah, there's 23 orders sitting right around there. Just go ahead and do it. Go down to that London low area, grab that liquidity, and bounce. That's what I want to happen. Did any of you guys take trades during the Asia session or London? How did you guys do? Man, after that initial like 20 minutes of the market open, it has gone nowhere since then. I'm surprised you didn't take any trades, G-Man. Asia session for gold is kind of your thing. Nice, Travis. You took a short on the opening range break. Good job. I didn't. I tried to long it. Was kind of looking at the bigger zoomed out of like the London session being bullish and kind of sitting right at VWAP. Thought we would get a bounce. Man, choppy. These 5-minute candles have big wicks up above, and it's holding below this Asia low, which makes me think it wants to go lower. No signs of a bounce from here. No buyers. Bring it on down. Normally, in a situation like this, I would anchor a low of day VWAP, but honestly, it's staying in such a small range that I don't think it'll be useful. Like, it would be from there. I mean, it's breaking below it, but it's also chopping around and breaking above it too. I like to use anchored VWAPs to like show who has control, who has regained momentum, which obviously sellers have at this point. But it only works, I feel like, if it's kind of making a little flag up, not this ugly consolidation. All right, coming down to that overnight low. Let's see how it reacts. I know some people are big on setting limit orders. I'm not a fan of that just because I wouldn't know where to put my stop loss. Like sometimes it'll just barely come down to the low and then bounce up immediately. Sometimes it'll go like 20 points below before it regains it. Maybe I'm a scaredy cat, I don't know. But I'd prefer to like wait and see how it reacts and wait for a couple of like 1 minute candle closures to confirm that it's actually gonna bounce, especially when we're trying to catch a falling knife like that. Yeah, I know you can add stop orders too, but how much room do you give it? Like how many points? That's the part that I'm like, I don't know. Interesting buy up. It didn't come down to that overnight low yet. Oh, I could see where if you used fibs, limit orders would be good. Especially on the higher time frame if you're doing more like swing trading or something on like the 1 hour. Interesting spot for a bounce. I was definitely expecting it to come down to that overnight low. What a buy up. Dang. All right, it's coming up to that previous day low, opening range low level. Might be a spot to short, but dang, that was a really high volume buy up. Here's some big 1 minute candles, you guys. I hope you're sizing down. That buy up right there was like 52 points. Pretty crazy. Let's see. Are we going to reject from here? This is the 15-minute opening range low right at New York VWAP too. So it's an interesting area of confluence for a rejection. No, my trading view is not being funky. Are we coming back down from here? Let's see if we get back below yesterday's low. All right, I entered a short and I realized I never put my screen back on. I'm gonna move it over here in a second. All right, so 991.75 was where I entered. Gonna target that London low area. Go ahead and put it on here from my journal. Looking good. $9.28 is London low. Let's see if we get it. Come on, let's get some continuation here. Same trade. Let's go, G-Man. Are you targeting the London low? Or what are you targeting? Juicy risk to reward? Yeah. And actually, now that we have the rejection, I can move it to that top wick. Oh, you're going for 891. Dang. Why is that? Man, go down. What are you doing here? I haven't looked at Bookmap. I'm curious, is that why you're targeting lower? I don't like how it's bouncing at this fair value gap. I'm gonna let it play out, but that's kind of annoying that I had all that unrealized profit and then looks like it's coming back up. I'm not liking the way this looks. Put a little anchored VWAP on that low. It did break below, but now continuing back up. Yeah, I don't like it either, G-Man. Sasmin, I realized I forgot to answer your question about how much water do you drink. A good rule of thumb as like a minimum is half your body weight in ounces. So you'd have to do the conversion to liters if that's how you measure it, but I usually do ounces. So like if you're 200 pounds, you would drink 100 ounces of water. And that's kind of like the minimum. If you're sweating a lot or if your weather is like really hot and you're outside, you should drink more. Like I drink more than that because it's summer here and it's hot and I work out and I'm like always outside playing with the kids. So that's kind of a good rule of thumb, half your body weight in ounces. Price action is being a little bit weird today for me. Like it's not performing the way it normally does from what I understand for NQ. Like normally it comes down to a level and then it bounces. It's bouncing in weird spots and then getting buy-ups and sell-offs in weird spots. Well, that wick stopped me out. I'm not opposed to re-entering the same idea just because we are still sitting right at that opening range low and right at VWAP. And my loss was fairly small. Yeah, you're right. Like if we zoom out, we swept those Asia lows. But I guess the weird spot part of it is it didn't really bounce here. Like it came down first and then bought up. All right, we're breaking back into that 15-minute opening range low. Here's our initial balance low right here so far. We still have 7 minutes. So we have lots of wicks underneath on the 5-minute chart there, but then we have lots of wicks above right there. A little bit undecided. I'll move this down. I had adjusted my stop loss there. So got it stopped out. Mad Moxie, way to go. This week the algo has been set to destroy. Yeah. Yesterday and today. Yesterday was just choppy. There were lots of fake outs. Like, I knew it was choppy, so I would wait until it broke below a level and there was like confirmation that it was going in a certain direction, and then it was a fake out. Like, there were several fake outs, which was annoying. It made it hard because, like I said, I felt like I was being patient. It's not like I was entering on every little 1-minute candle. You think we're gonna chop for some time? Like hitting that summer slow period where it happens for a couple months? Or what do you mean? What is some time? Well, now we're getting that rejection. I just had my stop loss too tight, looks like. Oh, sometime just means minutes. I gotcha. I thought you meant like it was yesterday, today, it's gonna be for a while, like weeks, months. That's funny. I read that one wrong. Well, I moved my stop loss to be too tight too early, because now it looks like we're getting that continuation down. Let's zoom out a little bit. Still have quite a few wicks on the downside. So I'm not convinced that we're going to sell off anymore. Still so choppy. Yeah, it hit the anchored VWAP and dropped, but then there was an immediate buy up. Like every time the sellers show up, buyers are eating it back up so far. It is rejecting at a pretty big level. Previous day low, like I was saying, there was lots of volume and chop here. And then 15-minute opening range low, session VWAP, anchored VWAP. Lots of reasons for it to go lower. But buyers are making it hard for sellers to bring it down. There's not really any continuation. Hasn't been clean. You saw my post on Instagram? Yeah. Yeah. I used to own a gym. Fitness has always been a big thing. Man, this is kind of looking like it wants to go back up, you guys. It's closing back within that 15-minute low. Getting a strong break above. Dang. Buyers showed up. I have a funny story to tell about my Fit Mom Trader name here in a second. I'm watching to see if we can maybe get an entry on this. Well, we still have 3 minutes on this 5-minute candle, and so far we have a big wick bringing us back down. So again, this could be another fake out. I'm going to do a small position long. 20.25 is where I'm entering. So we got that little pullback, but it's starting to buy up. What did I say? 20.25, I think. And I'm just going to keep my stop tight at that 15-minute low, because the idea is that we broke above VWAP with volume, back above previous day low and opening range low. Let's see if we can get back up to range high. That's the idea. Zoom back to the 1 minute. Where would I put stop? So volume really showed up on this candle. I think it's safe to put my stop loss there, 993.5. Let's see if we make it up there. Initial balance is set now. So hopefully, for my sake in this trade, hopefully we get some continuation from here and it doesn't come back to that initial balance low. Because then that would be all the way down here. Let's see if we can actually get some continuation for once. We have had orders sitting up at 23,100 all morning. Like, I looked this morning when I woke up and they were there. They're still there. Maybe we'll go grab those. Maybe. Or it could be another fake out. That 15-minute candle right now is looking ugly. We need to get a better closure than that. Oh my gosh. You guys, this is ugly. What the heck? You're still short. Dang, G-Man, where was your stop loss? You had a wide stop. All right, that little drop wicked me out. It's still holding above that low of day anchored VWAP. It's not looking too strong though. Oh, 036. Oh, that came close to stopping you out. I don't know. It's still holding above that anchor VWAP from low a day, G-Man. This is just ugly. It's holding above those VWAP levels. Holding above the previous day low, 15-minute low. But that, right now, that 15-minute candle, if it closes like that, that doesn't look strong. Interesting. Seven-year-old granddaughter promised you would get 10 hugs if you took her to the Jurassic Park movie. I love that. That's adorable. Have fun. Yeah, having wide stops today and just a clear plan of what you want to do and sticking with it, I think is the way to go, Shez. You're right. You have 5 more years until you're boring. Yeah. My kids are around that age too. I have a 10-year-old and 7-year-old twins, and they're still at the age where they're at a fun age right now because they're like independent enough that they can still get dressed and brush teeth and all that, so I don't have to like change diapers anymore. But they still like want to cuddle and hold my hand, and they still love their mom and dad. I know it's not going to be like that forever. So, well, if this if this ends up going back to the high, that's going to be the second one. Well, no, I guess this one wouldn't really have worked out, but wicked out by a hair if this ends up holding and going up. So, yep, wider stops would have been the way to go. It's playing with that anchored VWAP from the low a day. Buyers are still defending though. Coming back up. ES is looking cleaner than NQ. Still just chopping around, not really making any decisions. Kind of stuck, pinching between all the VWAPs. Let's see if we get any continuation in either direction. It's consolidating, that's for sure. Where's it gonna go? Yeah, break even, if you put it like exactly break even, it will go slightly negative because of fees. So I usually put it a couple points in profit so that I make like $10 on the trade or whatever if I want to be at break even. Otherwise, you do end up negative. Moving up again. And then moving down again. Like I said, it's kind of stuck in between those levels. Session VWAP, New York anchored VWAP, low a day VWAP. It's consolidating. Hasn't figured out which way it wants to go yet. Your mind keeps showing new ideas to get in. Yeah. I get that way if I sit and just stare at the charts for hours. Especially if maybe I've taken a loss or two. Then I start making stuff up that's not necessarily something that I normally trade. Listen to what's going on in your brain. Like for me, I've noticed that, like yesterday, when I called it and said I need to be done trading, because in my brain, I was making arguments for long and short. Like, it's below this level, so I could see us going short here, but it's above this level, so I think we could go long here. If you start, like, seeing both sides of it and you're feeling super choppy, that's probably when you should be done, or at least walk away from the computer and like reset a little bit, get a fresh perspective. Yeah, the YouTube stream does lag a little bit. I think it has like an 8-second delay or something like that. So my price on my screen, on my trading view, will look different than yours by a couple seconds. Why can't we just have clean PA? Yeah. I feel like an area that I have not been doing super well on over the last, I don't know, 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks have been tough for me, you guys. Like this trade right here, I had the idea, right? Like zooming out on the 5 minute, I was seeing that there were lots of wicks the whole way up. Sellers were trying to take control, buyers were defending. We were holding above previous day low, getting back above VWAP. Like I was thinking we were going up. I just had my stop loss in the wrong spot. I guess I need to give the trades more room to play out. But that idea has been happening too often lately, where it'll stop me out and then my trade will play out. So I definitely need to look at that and adjust my stops for sure. Backtesting millionaire. Yeah. Has anyone ever done paper trading, but instead of using like MNQ, you use NQ and then just use like 4 contracts, 5 contracts, and then like make $10,000 each trade or whatever? I've totally done that and gotten up to a lot of money in my account. If only that was real life. It's not that easy in real life. Yeah, Travis, it's been tough the last couple weeks. It's definitely been a good test of my patience, I'll say that. And I'll take it as a learning experience. Like anytime I have losing days, I'll go back and look at my journal, my trade journal, and like see where I went wrong, where I could have improved. So I like to look at it as a learning experience. But I notice emotionally when a trade stops me out and then goes and hits my target, it definitely messes with my head and makes me want to chase the trade. So learning how to stay patient and just wait for the next one and remind myself that there's tons of opportunities in the market. I can wait for the next trade. There's always another trade. So I'll take it as a learning experience. And of course, learning where to put my stop loss too and making that adjustment. But like the mental side of trading, it's been a good learning experience for me, or growing experience, I guess. Sasmit. See you next time, market makers. Yeah, one bigger stop loss, less trades, and less size too. If you're doing a bigger stop loss, then maybe risk fewer contracts. See you, Frosty. Have a good one. Oh, I didn't tell you guys my story about the Fit Mom Trader name. So, a couple months ago, I was on PW stream just for a couple minutes, and I typed something in the chat. And if you guys have ever been on his stream, he's kind of a jerk. Like in real life, from the interviews I've seen, he seems like a decent guy, but he gets viewers because he just is obnoxious. So I think that's why he was doing it. I didn't get my feelings hurt by it, but he totally was like, saying, "Oh, fit mom, you're probably not even fit. You're probably fat and old," and like totally just went off on my name. It made me laugh. And then of course everyone is commenting about it, and yeah, Patrick Wieland or whatever his last name is. It's funny, I didn't have any hard feelings about it. I just know that's the way he is about his like getting viewership. So I know he was just in his entertainment mode. But I was like, huh, I wonder if people are gonna like come follow me now and see. uh, what the heck was that? Dang. What news did we miss? G-Man, did that hit your target? No, I guess you were targeting like 906, but it shouldn't have hit your stop loss. Straight up unfair. Oh my gosh. I still don't have any news coming across on Financial Juice. What am I missing? That was just dumb, you guys. What the heck? Now it's all getting bought back up. Wow. And then straight back up. Was that just a stop hunt and now we're going to continue like to the moon? Is that what that was? I still am not seeing anything come across on my Financial Juice. Is anyone else seeing something? We had crude oil inventories at 10:30, but that was 25 minutes ago. This is gross, you guys. Oh, good. Sasma, you had your stop loss at break even. All good. Well, we're coming back to initial balance low. I don't love this choppy price action, but this could be a possible failed auction setup with kind of what I was explaining to Travis earlier, because we do have that London low liquidity right below the initial balance low. So if it does something like this, where it grabs that London low and then comes back within the initial balance low, that could be something we could watch for. But again, this is so jumpy. I don't love it. Whatever that drop was, it's getting bought up. Sellers are not able to keep it down. I don't know if it's going to come back down to that initial balance low. Sasmit, good question. So I haven't gotten a code yet for Tradeify. July is a general code. So what you have to do for now until I get a code is type in that URL that's listed up there, and that will like give me credit as the affiliate. And then to get the 35% off, you have to type in July. So hopefully I'll have a code soon. If you just type in that URL, the tradeify.co/ref/Krista, it won't give you the discount, but it will be linked to my name. And then just type in July and it'll give you the discount. Hopefully they'll give me a link soon though. Yeah, whatever that drop was. I'm guessing it was just I thought it was just like a stop hunt and then it was going to go higher, but then it came down again and then went higher. This is ugly. Oh man. Yeah, I sent an email to them to ask if they can make an exception. So the deal is they don't want to like make codes for thousands of people and then not have you actually like show your value, if we don't bring in any traffic. So they want to confirm that you're bringing in traffic before they go through the work of a code. But I actually sent them an email this morning just requesting if they can make an exception because I was like, most of my traffic is from YouTube and you can't really click a link from YouTube. So it'd be easier if you guys could just go to the Tradeify website and type in my name. So hopefully they'll make an exception. I'll get that figured out soon. But for now, yeah, I have like an affiliate dashboard on the back end so I can see like how many clicks I'm getting and stuff. So it is directing to my website. Thanks for asking though, Sazment. I appreciate the support. Yeah, I haven't updated the description on the live streams. I actually just saw that this morning, so I do need to do that. Thanks for the reminder. I will do that. I keep thinking that this wants to go higher, but there's just no continuation in either direction. Like there was that dump and you thought, okay, now it's dropping down to London low. Didn't do that. So we had a buy up and now it's crossing above VWAP and back above levels. So you're like, okay, now it's going higher. Nope. We pretty much don't know what it's doing. That's what's going on. Just in this chop. Two out of five winning trades. 5 trades a day is your limit. Good job, Travis. Way to finish green. Yeah, I can see it on the back. I can at least like see the traffic that I'm getting. So yeah, I appreciate it, Sazmet. Hey, in despair. Tough day today. Price action is choppy and ugly. I'm not a fan. Not a fan. It's looking like it wants to head higher now. But then we have these crazy drops. Every drop is getting bought up pretty aggressively though. Here we go. Heading back up. Let's see if we actually get some continuation. Your boss was asking you to stay and was trying to lure you with more money. Did you say no? Oh, we're actually holding above those levels for a little while now. Looking at the 15 minutes, zooming out a little bit, we still have 5 minutes until this candle closes. The last two 15-minute candles have had big fake outs. Haven't made it past this 23.32 area. That's pretty big resistance. Zooming left too. Let's see if it gets back up there and rejects again, or if we continue back up to opening range high. So a lot of times when there's wicks on the 1 minute or the 5 minute, and it's kind of like, I don't know, where are we going? I'll zoom out to the 15 minute to get a more clear picture. But even the 15 minute looks choppy and wicky. There's wicks on both sides. Right now, this 15-minute candle looks strong, but like I said, we still have 4 minutes to close. And the last two 15-minute candles went up to that level too and then closed bearish. So I'm not convinced yet until this actually closes strong. Looking good so far. You said no. Freedom. I'm out. I'm out of here. That's funny. Friendly reminder, you guys, if you haven't already, go hit that like button on the stream. I'd appreciate it. I appreciate the support, you guys. It's fun to have you guys, several of you returners coming back. Even if some of you take your scalp trades in the first 5 minutes and then you leave us. That's always funny. All right, 2 minutes until this candle closes. Are we going to get a strong close? And maybe some continuation up? Or is this going to be another spot where we reject? This level, it's been a big one. 23.34-ish. Oh yeah, you're welcome. Let's see if we make it back up to that opening range high. If we do, with how bearish today has been, could be a spot for rejection. Or we have this fair value gap here too at like 23.62-ish. I was saying earlier that there's been orders on Bookmap at 23,100 all day. I think I even saw them last night. It'd be interesting if it goes up and grabs those. Those are right above the initial balance high. That opening range high is at 23.90, so 10 points above and it could grab those. Could be a possible spot for a rejection too, if it goes and grabs those and then closes back within the range. Well, that 15-minute candle closed strong. There's no wick. It closed above this level that has been resistance here at 23.32. We do have this wick at the Asia high, 23.45. That's kind of where it's rejecting right now. So we'll see if we get some continuation, or if this is where it turns around. I feel like if it's going to continue higher, which I say if, it should go from here. Yikes. Yeah, I'm glad I prefaced that with if it does. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is ridiculous. I can't trade this. All right. Trump indicated that he'll fire Powell. I wonder if that's what that was all about. Trump's talking. This isn't tradable for me, you guys. Too crazy. It did come down to that initial balance low, and it's getting a strong buy up from there, but I am not interested in this today. No more. This is ugly. I'm going to call it there, you guys. I don't even want to look at the charts anymore after that. If you guys are trading today, trade safe. Definitely put those stop losses on. Be careful. All right, you guys. I'll be back tomorrow. Have a good one. Like I said, trade safe. Bye.